periods in space are not that different, though a bit more complicated. With more than 50 women having flown in space over the last 50 years and the ranks of women astronauts growing, one might assume that a basic physiological question has been answered: what's the best approach to manage menstrual cycles in space? An analysis published Thursday in the journal npj Microgravity reports that many women astronauts might choose to pause their periods while in space, especially as missions get longer, and discusses ways to do that. Using long-acting contraceptive methods, like implants or intrauterine devices, may be best, the authors say, not only for the women but for reasons of convenience and cargo. The authors, Dr. Varsha Jain at King's College London, who has been described as a space gynecologist, and Virginia E. Watering at Baylor College of Medicine, who might be considered a space pharmacologist, write that menstruating in space is safe. The old myth that zero gravity would cause retrograde menstrual flow, causing blood to accumulate in the abdomen and cause infections, has been shown to be baseless. In a NASA oral history, Dr. Rhea Seddon, an astronaut who flew on 3 space shuttle missions in the 1980s and 1990s, said, "I'm not totally sure who had the first period in space, but they came back and said, period in space, just like period on the ground. Don't worry about it." Sally Ride, who in 1983 became the first American woman in space, said in another oral history that engineers were trying to decide how many tampons should fly on a 1-week flight. They asked, "Is 100 the right number?" She replied, "No. That would not be the right number." When the engineers told her, "Well, we want to be safe," she said she answered, "Well, you can cut that in half with no problem at all." But having a period in space can be a logistical challenge. The waste disposal systems on board the U.S. side of the International Space Station that reclaim water from urine were not designed to handle menstrual blood, thus idealizing the minimization of breakthrough bleeding during menstrual suppression, write the authors, whose review included discussions with the astronauts Dr. Ellen Baker and Serena Oanon, among others. Also, the practicalities of personal hygiene while menstruating during spaceflight could be challenging, for example, limited wash water supply or the task of changing hygiene products in microgravity. The authors write that birth control pills that terrestrially are taken for 21 days followed by 7 days of placebo, have long been adapted by women in space, who skip the placebo week and take the real pills continuously in order to halt menstruation. But as space flights get longer, there are things to consider, including that taking a pill every day on, say, a 3-year mission, would require about 1,100 pills, the authors wrote. Drug stability has not been tested for hormonal medications over such a long time in space or with the impact of deep space radiation, the analysis says. Plus, think of all the blister packs. They increase up mass, the weight of stuff carted along from Earth, and they add to waste disposal. The authors also suggest areas for further investigation with long-term birth control. With injections, which last 3 months, some studies have found a reduction in bone mineral density, and it is unclear how space travel would affect that. The researchers examined hormonal IUDs, which are currently licensed for 5 years, and implants, which last up to 3 years. Both, they wrote, look like a pretty good bet, they write, but they flag one potential issue with implants might the tiny matchstick inserted under the skin of the upper arm rub or catch on specialist equipment or attire such as the neutral buoyancy laboratory diving suit or the extravehicular activity suit. Terrestrial women don't typically have such wardrobe issues.